So I'm talking this afternoon with Mohan Gharial about mentoring and how that often fits into part of what we do with clients. Mohan, you were talking earlier about the fact that a lot of more junior IT leaders that we meet in our clients are rough diamonds who need some work to develop their skills. Can you talk a bit more about the kinds of things you come across?
Yeah, often they have a good technology background. They're passionate and engaged within the organization. What they typically struggle with is going from order taker to IT leader within the organization, bringing the best of technology to the business to help drive the business's objectives. And it's not because they don't know what needs to be done, but quite often they just struggle to articulate it in a way that the executive team can understand the inherent value of what's being told to them.
So often what this looks like to the chief exec is not an incompetent person, but is someone whose communication style doesn't seem to fit.
Indeed. So partly is communication, and partly it is very much about talking about the business, the impact of technology, not the technology itself.
Right.
Talking about the business's KPIs and objectives and how the technology can improve those. Those things are in then the language of the executive team.
And if you are introduced into a situation like this, how would you move forward?
Firstly, I'd want to assess whether the individual was a rough diamond. It's important to have a sense of that. Then understand what their personal goals and aspirations are. Sometimes people want to be a technologist, and then you need to augment that role with somebody who can provide that leadership. If they have the desire to take it into that leadership space, then it really is about working with them to say, let's talk about the big picture. What can IT do? What does best practice look like? What does innovation look like? That's the first step. And then the second step is, how do we now present this and sell this vision to the organization? How do we get them inspired and engaged and enthused about what we are trying to do? That does require selling type skills, influencing, persuading, negotiating. Obviously, you need to have the sort of personal gravitas and warmth to do that. But those sorts of skills, I think, are where the decisions get made. Once you've sold the vision, then actually moving on to funding that vision usually becomes an easier step.
I think you talking about inspiring people is a really good point, actually, because unless you can give people the energy for something, nothing's going to happen. You can implement technology as much as you like, but unless you give people the energy to deliver some change, it's just a piece of tech.
Yeah, I mean, if I use the example of a CRM, you can capture lots of information about your customer, and you can talk about it in the language of a CRM. What you really want to know is, do I know every single point at which a customer engages with this organization? And more importantly, do I have the information proactively to know what action to take next when they engage with the organization to maximize the next interaction with the customer? And that's not a technology conversation first. That's a matter of, how do we get deeper customer engagement? How do we become proactive? How do we set the agenda? I mean, that's an exciting conversation. The technology can do that.
Sometimes we're asked to get involved with a client in order to provide mentoring. But even if we're not asked to do that, mentoring is almost always a part of what we do, yes?
Absolutely, it is. Sometimes the individuals don't actually know what skills they need to have. Often you're talking about somebody relatively junior, but still the most senior person in IT. They don't have any more senior IT person to mentor them in the organization. So whether it's methodology, whether it's soft skills, whether it's strategy type skills, having somebody to say, this is where you need to apply some attention and I can help you with that, can shine a light on that individual's development, and you can work with them to take them through that development path in a way that the CFO can't do, the CEO can't do that, because they can coach potentially, but they can't mentor.
And the distinction you're drawing there between coaching and mentoring?
The distinction I draw is coaching is about getting the best out of an individual, but it really is on the individual to take a view on where they want to go, and you're helping them achieve that goal. Mentoring is very much about the mentor having domain expertise or subject matter expertise so that you can help shepherd the individual.
So, Mohan, are there a couple of examples that spring to mind?
Well, let me start about the team first and then the leader second. If I give an example of a team, you normally turn up at a client and there is a team of IT people. It might not be a huge team, but there is a team, often usually working very hard, potentially struggling to get all of the work done, struggling to find time for their own personal development. And what I certainly find in some smaller clients is getting access to time and money for training is hard. Actually, in reality, it usually doesn't cost much money. A lot of training available is self-service or low cost. And I very much make a concerted effort to say to the team, I'll train you on whatever's necessary and I'll find the money. Sounds like a bold statement, but it's usually not that expensive. But what I want the team to understand is that I value a learning and a growing team. And I can't then hide behind a budget because actually my words and my actions don't reconcile. People feel very valued when you invest in them. Now, whether you've got the technology skills, but you need a methodology around it, or whether you've got the methodology, but you need some soft skills around that, you don't have to do much to be letting people develop at their own pace. And I think that's really valuable because it engages the organization. Also, if you can then line up a training roadmap for the target technologies you are looking to put in place, they're learning and growing at the same time, but they become passionate about the roadmap that you're putting in place. And they start detaching themselves emotionally from the legacy technologies that are there because they can see that they are growing. And they become very positive about, as I say, the new direction.
So rather than attaching themselves to the past, they attach themselves to the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's, being better at what you're already good at, but is legacy and now not relevant, is not that exciting.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to get excited about the new technology, the new journey, new skills, feel like you are relevant in the marketplace and do that, as I say, without feeling that your job's going to be insecure or anything like that, because you're part of the change, you're part of the journey. And I found that to be very enriching for the team, very rewarding for me as a leader, and really engages people at a personal level positively on the journey.
Okay, Mohan, thank you very much indeed.